Well, it was another spectacular day of cool, calm, clear weather, and you've heard me say it a lot because it's going to be sticking around for a while, and we're dealing with some of those average conditions, if not some of those below average conditions, and we're looking at beautiful sunsets across the entire part of West Texas. Now, we're getting a good idea of the temperature change over the last 24 hours, dropping all the way down into those lower 50s, a good 30-degree run all the way up into those mid-80s, and we're cooling off pretty quickly right now, already in those mid-60s. 66 right now in San Angelo. Everybody else joining us already down there in a good combination of 60s and 70s across the entire region. Good little cool pocket right now hanging out in San Angelo while we're cooling from the center out, it looks like. 72 in Sterling City, 68 down there in Junction, and of course, you know, I'm looking for 10 degrees, definitely not out there right now, but the humidity indices are on their way up, and that could be where some of that cool air is making its way in from the south, where we're seeing those dew points still in those 50s, while the humidity indices have in fact doubled, going all the way up into those 60s, if not some 50s and 40s sprinkled in there across the entire region. We keep talking about the upper level pattern because it gives us a good idea of when we're going to see some more rain. Nothing here in the Concho Valley for a while, but definitely plenty across the entire eastern seaboard. Now, you heard how bad it is going to get, and yes, in fact, those numbers are accurate, but we're watching the next cold plunge as this storm is going to hold off a lot of the upper level pattern. We watch that low pressure system off the west coast of California sort of make its way across the four corners, and then we'll see how much moisture starts to pull in from the southwest. You know, it usually does that dragging motion across the Sierra Madres. When we take you down to the water vapor, we're really just focusing on Hurricane Helene right now as it sort of makes landfall, pulling all that dry air and really lifting it up, getting ready for that circulation, that Fujiwara effect I've been talking about sort of in the past couple of days. When we look at the moisture tracker, that's exactly where we're going to watch that dry air wrap around, and then it sort of stagnate well into the weekend, and we'll see just how much rainfall they're going to see across the entire Mississippi River Valley. You know, it usually follows that rain, a lot of flooding across that region. Now, we're tracking the timing between the cold front making its way in from the west, and when we look at the severe weather outlook, we're still watching how it's going to linger around that eastern coast of Georgia into South Carolina, North Carolina. You know the list of states where they're slated to see a lot of these emergencies. When you see the warnings and flash flooding alert here with Helene, a lot of that tropical storm warning, those hurricanes, pretty much every warning that could exist, including tornadoes, still moving northeast about 24 miles per hour. And then, of course, the sustained winds of 140 miles per hour. A couple months ago, we watched one of those storms push through Jamaica and strip those trees completely bare. Now, when we get a good idea of where the rest of that cloud cover is, a lot of that rain shower activity, it's pushing all the way up into Ohio, and we're watching that cold front, again, making its way in from the west. When we look at the satellite, we're seeing that high pressure push down, and then, of course, getting a good idea of the strong concentration and the circulation behind Helene, along with it kicking up a few tornado watches and warnings. They've seen about 12 already with water spouts, including across those entire regions. Now, the Futurecast is going to show you where it's going to continue to try to push back into the parts of eastern Texas, but the cold front slowly makes its way down from the Rockies. That's because that storm is holding it off. Take a good look around Mexico. That would be what is left of Tropical Storm John making its way up from the south. So we're timing it out between a cold front making its way down from the Rockies, Tropical Storm John pushing up from the south, and then, of course, this back and forth motion across what would be left of Helene. What does that mean for the Concho Valley? Not quite sure, but we'll see how long we hold on to those beautiful temperatures. So tonight, back down into those upper 50s. We'll see if we don't get cooler than that. Then tomorrow, we're warming right up into those 90s. We're going to fight to get there, but it's going to be a beautiful night for Friday Night Football. Get out there and enjoy yourself. It's going to shape up for another beautiful weekend. You know, there's a lot of activities planned. We're going to still hold on to those beautiful temperatures as we wrap up September, but as we begin October, still going strong in those lower 90s, while those lows are still hovering around those upper 50s. Stay tuned. While over the break, you're watching KSAN News at 10.